بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. As for what follows, we begin our 11th lesson at this time in our study of Al-Muqaddimah Al-Ajrumiyyah, the Ajrumiyyah text in Arabic grammar. And we need to basically bring ourselves up to speed with what we did last night. Barakallahu feek. And that was that we introduced when the first sign of Marfoo' is apparent on different types of words. What's the first, most basic sign of Marfoo', ya Hanif? The first alama. It's a dhamma. All right. And how many different kinds of words is a dhamma a sign for being Marfoo', Sayyid Ikram? 4. Nice. Can you name one of them? Al-Mufrad. Al-Ism al-Mufrad. Single nouns. Singular nouns. Then, an example, a quick one, Sayyid Ikram. A quick example of a single noun that has a dhamma as a sign of it being Marfoo'. Naru. Okay. Narullahi. Tayyib. Nice. Naru. Nasrullahi. Nice. All right. Aba Abdul Fattah. Can you name one of them? Jam'u taksir. And you got a definition for that? What's a jam'u taksir?
It's an irregular noun.
An irregular plural noun. Yeah? It's an irregular plural. So give me an example of one that's marfu'a. Al-Kutub. What's on the back? Al-Kutubu. All right. So, a'rib. Al-Kutubu ala tawila. Al-Kutub, a'rib. Make i'rab of it.
It's
Marfu'un. Ahsant. What's the sign of its marfu'? Okay, jam'u taksir. Marfu'. Nice. علامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. And you can review lesson number 10 for lots of practice on saying مرفوع علامة رفعه الضمة. That was the whole point yesterday, right? Ibrahim, a third kind of word that has a dhamma as the sign of it being marfu'. Jam'u mu'annath salim. Feminine plural, regular feminine plural. Nice. An example, do you have one? Muslimatun. Okay, muslimatun. Ja'at muslimatun. So a'rib, make i'rab of muslimatun. Perfect, thank you. That's all we need. And then lastly, the fourth kind, Aba Asiya, fourth kind of word that has a dhamma as its sign of being marfu'. Al-fi'l al-mudari'. Present tense verbs, yeah? Not past tense verbs. And not orders, not commands. We don't even talk about case with those because they're mabni, tayyib. So then the only verb that we talk about is fi'l mudari' in i'rab. So the fi'l mudari'. But something about the fi'l mudari', something that doesn't have a suffix, doesn't have anything at the end of it. It doesn't have it's not yajlisuna. It doesn't have any waaw al-jama'a. It doesn't have any noon at-tawkid, the noon for emphasis, whether it's light or heavy. Don't worry so much about that. Not to be worried about at this stage. We'll talk about the noon at-tawkid later. An example of a fi'l mudari' that has a dhamma as its sign of being marfu'. Yaqra'u. Nice. So yaqra'u is marfu'. Okay. فعل مضارع مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة. Nice. That's it. We're up to speed now. Let's look at lesson number 11. And so we're going to build on that. We learned about the first sign of something being marfu'. We're going to look at the second sign of something being marfu'. It's not a dhamma. It's the one that is a secondary sign. The dhamma is the primary sign. And then there are 3 secondary signs that are in place of the dhamma, meaning they are secondary signs of a word being marfu'. The text of Ibn al-Ajurrum's Muqaddimah is وَأَمَّا الْوَاوُ. As for the wow, we've already been introduced to the 4 signs of marfu', the dhamma, the wow, the alif, and the noon. Now we're going to look at the wow after looking at the dhamma. فَتَكُونُ عَلَامَةً لِلرَّفْعِ فِي مَوْضِعَيْنِ. Then it is a sign of something in the raf' case, being marfu', in two occasions, meaning two types of words. Two types of words. And they're both nouns, so we have nothing to do with verbs here. We're just dealing with nouns. The first one is في جمع المذكر السالم. The regular plurals, regular masculine plurals. And give me a quick example, Ya Hanif, of a jam mudhakkar salim. Muslimun. So the mufrad is Muslim, and you add wow noon. And you put a dhamma on the meme. Muslimun. To make the jam mudhakkar salim. It also could be muslimin. And that's still jam mudhakkar salim. But now, notice now I introduced jam mudhakkar salim as two possible ways of saying it. Either muslimuna or muslimin. Kafirun or kafirin. Talibuna or talibin. Sa'iluna or sa'ilin. Either una or ina. So now the wow is a sign of it being marfu'. Now you know all the in, whenever the jam' mudhakkar salim has in on it, it's not marfu'. We'll get to what it is later. But now, when we hear un, that's the wow we're talking about in un. Not the noon, but the wow. And remember, the sign of i'rab is not always the last letter or the haraka on the last letter. Sometimes it's the one near the end. And so here we have the second to last letter as the sign of it being marfu'. Al-muslimuna versus al-muslimina. They both end with a noon with a fatha on it. One has a wow right before it, and the other one has a ya right before it. When it's marfu', it has a wow before that noon. That's jam' mudhakkar salim. Briefly introduced. And then the second one is وَفِي الْأَسْمَاءِ الْخَمْسَةِ. And in the five nouns. Now, al-asma' al-khamsa, there are lots of nouns, way more than five. The author intends a specific group of five nouns, and he names them. Five nouns that are special. They have a special rule, and there are only five. Some grammarians add a sixth one, but we'll look at the five that Ibn Ajrumiyyah says here. Only five have this rule. Whereas when we say jam' mudhakkar salim, how many nouns can come as jam' mudhakkar salim? You can't count them. Any mufrad that's aqil, that's an animate object, a person with a description or something, a Muslim, a sa'im, and so on, you can put an un and an in on it as a base rule. It's allowed. So then, that's not a selected group of words. That's a wide open category of words. But the asma' khamsa, the five nouns, they are only five nouns, only six nouns according to some scholars of language, and that's it. Not seven, not eight, and you can't apply it to other words. Only these five words. What are they? وَهِيَ أَبُوكَ وَأَخُوكَ وَحَمُوكِ وَفُوكَ وَذُو مَالٍ. And we'll get to why I said وَحَمُوكِ. Abuka, your father. Abuka. وَأَخُوكَ, your brother. وَحَمُوكِ. The hamu is the brother of the husband or the close relative of the husband. So you only address a woman about her husband's relatives. Hamuk, the third one in the book. Yeah, Abuka wa akhuka wa hamuki. Al-hamu al-maut. Naam. From the hadith of Uqba ibn Amir in Sahih Muslim and Bukhari. From the hadith of Uqba ibn Amir, the Prophet ﷺ forbade the Sahaba from entering upon the women. He said to them, إِيَّاكُمْ وَالدُّخُولَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. Be warned of entering upon the women. Don't go where the women are. How do we apply that at 1911 Wiley Avenue? Don't go over that, beyond that door. إِيَّاكُمْ وَالدُّخُولَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. Don't enter upon the women. The prohibition of intermingling between men and women, they try to say it's cultural, right? This is a Saudi thing. This is Wahhabism. This is an austere form of Islam where you separate men and women. We're no longer living in medieval times. We can control ourselves. Men and women should mix with each other and should be familiar and all of that. We don't want to go in the past and live like cavemen and things like that. Look how people talk. This is our messenger, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He said, Iyakum, be warned of something. And the basis for when he said Iyakum and something, be warned of this, is that thing is impermissible. Iyakum wal kadhiba. Be warned of lying. What's lying? Impermissible, absolutely, a major sin. Iyakum wa dukhul ala nisa. Be warned of entering upon where the women are. So then, a man said from the Ansar, Afara'ayta al-hamwa. So what about the hamu? That's our third word here, the hamu. What about the hamu then? So what the questioner means here is, what about my husband's brother coming to visit, leave something for him, come into the house to take something and leave? That doesn't count, does it? Or does it count? The question is, we need clarification about the brother. He's family. My husband's brother is family. So, is he also warned against coming into where the women are? What'd you say, Abu Abdul Fatah? Al-hamwa. No. Has a wow on it. Al-hamwa. Ara'ayta al-hamwa because it's mansub ala al-maf'uliyah. We'll get to that. Afara'ayta al-hamwa. This, unlike Abu and Akhu, it has a wow on it when it's not mudaf. The brother of a woman's husband. Or a close relative of the husband. Yeah, most commonly the brother of the husband. It's called the hamu. So then the questioner said, Afara'ayta al-hamwa. What about this issue of this brother of my husband? Or the brother of a woman's husband? He said, Al-hamu al-maut. Al-hamu al-maut. The brother of your husband, the brother of a lady's husband is death. And so what's the meaning of that? Death.
Like the crime of having
Yeah, that could be adultery. That could lead to death. Or it's disastrous like death. It should be kept away from like you protect yourself from death. A lot of ways to understand that word. Bottom line is there's the word hamu. It's not a commonly used word, but that's the meaning of it. So when you say hamuki, hamuki ind al-bab. Hamuki ind al-bab. Your brother-in-law's at the door. Can she invite him in for tea until the husband gets home? No. Hu al-maut. He's death. In person. So she's got to avoid khalwa with him. She can't be alone with him, thinking this is all family. That's my husband's brother. We're safe here. She should not think that. She should be on guard against her husband's brother. Now.
No, I thought you were saying like the wife's brother.
Well, here's the idea. I say hamuki because we're talking to a woman. The man doesn't have a hamu because he doesn't have a husband. Specifically, this is the husband's brother or close relative. So you're talking to, whenever you're addressing someone who has a hamu, you're talking to a woman because she has a husband who has close relatives, and that's the hamu. Then the fuk, wafuk, and your mouth. Fu is another word for fem. Fu, like that. Fu, it means mouth. And when you use it in the mudaf, it's like akhuk and fuk. Your brother, your mouth. And the last word is wadu malin, and the possessor of wealth. And the word mal is just a generic noun, the possessor of anything. Wadu jahin, wadu malin, wadu sharafin, wadu dinin, wadu whatever. Dhu is the point here. Allah is dhu al-jalali wal-ikram. Dhu al-jalali wal-ikram. Dhu al-jalali wal-ikram. He is dhu al-arsh al-majid. He is dhu, the possessor of al-arsh, the throne, al-majid, the majestic one. Now. ذو مغفرة. نعم. He's ذو مغفرة واسعة. He's ذو رحمة. He's the possessor of mercy, the possessor of forgiveness. He's ذو. ذو means the possessor of. So هو ذو مال. He's a guy who has money. هذا ذو سيارة. He's a guy who has a car. هذا ذو كتب. This man has lots of books. He's a possessor of books, and so on. ذو whatever is the possessor of. طيب. So these 5 words, they come in the marfoo form with with a dhamm, not a dhamma but a wow, and that wow is the sign of it being marfoo. So what we're going to have to do to understand this latter part here is we're going to have to do ja'a wa ra'aytu wa marartu bi. Let's do it. Abu Huraira. That's an Abu with a name. Huraira. Abu Huraira. Let's say ja'a and then put Abu Huraira. Ja'a Abu Huraira. It's marfoo. How do we make i'rab of Ja'a Abu Huraira? I'rab of Abu. We say Abu is ismun. Marfu'un. Alamatu raf'ihi الواو نيابة عن الضمة. Yeah, if you want to add niyabatan on a dhamma in place of the dhamma is the alama asliya. You can do that. Let's keep it easy and not do that for now. Let's just say, Ja'a Abu Fulan. Abu Huraira, Abu Zayd, Abu Ammar. It doesn't matter. Put a generic name there. Ja'a Abu Huraira. Let's make i'rab of the word Abu. We say Abu is an ism, marfu', alamatu raf'ihi, al-waw. Not a dhamma. Here we're talking about the waw today. Dhamma was yesterday. Al-waw. Now we have to say ra'aytu. Just to introduce it, it's coming. We're not really supposed to talk about it yet, but let's see how it changes. I want to say I saw Abu Huraira. So I say ra'aytu Aba Huraira. Ra'aytu Aba Huraira. I put an alif on the ba, after the ba. Ra'aytu Aba Huraira. I don't say ra'aytu Abu Huraira. Because in that case it's maf'ul. It has to be mansoob. This is a practice drill for marfoo', mansoob, and majroor. Ja'a Zaydun. Ra'aytu Zaydan. Marartu bi Zaydin. Let's put Abu something. Ja'a Abu Zayd. Ra'aytu Aba Zayd. Marartu bi Abi Zayd. So it's marfu' with a waw, mansoob with an alif, and majroor with a ya. Majroor with a ya. Our focus is not on the alif and the ya. We just want to deal with when it has a waw on it. But just so you know, that's how it changes. Yeah, Abu changes to Aba or Abi. And all of them change just like that. So Abu changes just like Akhu changes. Instead of saying Abu Huraira, let's say the brother of Huraira. How do we say it? Ja'a Akhu Huraira. Let's make i'rab of Akhu. Sayyid Ikram, can you do it? Ja'a Akhu Huraira. A'rib Akhu. It's an ism. Ismun. Is it marfu', mansoob, or majroor? Marfu'. What's next? Ismun marfu'un. Alamatu raf'ihi al-waw. Yeah, your tongue wants to say ad-dhamma because you practice that a lot. Now we're saying alamatu raf'ihi al-waw. The sign of it being marfu' is the waw because it's akhu. Ja'a akhu Huraira. Ja'a Abu Huraira. Ja'a akhu Huraira. All right. So then Ja'a Hamu Aisha. Aisha's brother-in-law came. All right, who's going to make i'rab of Hamu for us? Hanif, can you do it? Hamu. Ismun. Nice. Marfu'un. Nice. Alamatu raf'ihi. Al-waw. That's today's lesson. That's all we got to keep saying every time I call on you. Just say Ismun marfu'un. Alamatu raf'ihi. Al-waw. Rinse and repeat. Get it on your tongue and practice it again and again. Ibrahim. Ja'a Abu Zayd. Ja'a Abu Zayd. What's Abu? How do I make i'rab of Abu? Ism marfu'. Alamatu raf'ihi al-waw. Now, if you want more details, we say niyabatan al-dhamma, not needed here. And you can also say لِأَنَّهُ مِنَ الْأَسْمَاءِ الْخَمْسَةِ. For details, the reason why waw is the sign of it being marfu' and not a dhamma is because it's from al-asma' al-khamsa. So sometimes you'll see that in an official i'rab. Now we got two more words. Wafuq. Wafu Zayd. Hada fu Zayd. And this is the mouth of Zayd. All right. Fu. Let's make i'rab of fu Zayd. Ismun marfu'an. Nice. Alamatu raf'ihi al-waw. لأنه من الأسماء الخمسة, because it's from the أسماء خمسة. It's from the 5 special nouns. The last one is ذو. So let's say الرجل ذو جمال. The man is the possessor of a handsome look. الرجل ذو جمال. ذو جمال. Jamal is beauty or good appearance. All right, Sayyid Ikram, what do you say? الرجل ذو جمال. How do you make i'rab of ذو? اسم مرفوع علامة رفعه Al-Waaw. There you go. You're good. Now let me back it up though. Ar-Rajulu. Dhu Jamal. I want you to make i'rab of Ar-Rajulu. Just throw that in there. Just so we don't stick to the same wow all the time. Ar-Rajulu. Ar-Rajulu. Make i'rab of the word Ar-Rajulu only. Ismun. Marfu'un. Alamatu raf'ihi. There's no wow on it. It's Ar-Rajulu. A dhamma. Yeah, Ar-Rajulu. There's a dhamma on the lam. That's yesterday's Ism Mufrad. Ar-Rajulu. Dhu Jamal. He's the possessor of beauty or handsomeness or a good appearance. Naam. Naam ya Aba Abdul Fattah.
Question is, وش الفرق بين الفو والفم?
Same meaning. One is from the Asma' Khamsa and the other is not.
Okay.
Fem is a regular word. Ism Mufrad. Its sign of being marfu would be a dhamma, zahira. Fu is mudaf to something. It's always used mudaf. And so it's relative to its place. If it's marfu, the alamatu raf'ihi would be al-waaw.
Why did Ajrumiyyah say ذو مال? Why didn't he just say ذو شيء?
Maybe he wants you to have money and he's optimistic. Maybe he wants the people studying his Arabic text to be rich. And so he's thinking positively. I don't know. But dhu mal, he's the possessor of wealth. He could have said from the beginning, Abu Zayd, wa Akhu Zayd, wa Hamu Zayd. But he chose to make it you, anta. So he's addressing his reader. There is an attention to the reader of the text. He could have chosen any kind of idafa. Abu Zayd, Abu Huraira, Abu this, Abu that. But he chose Abuka, wa Akhuka, wa Hamuki, wa Fuka, wa dhu malin. He chose to make these words relative, mudaf, directly to the reader. And Abuka means Abu Anta, the father of you, Abuk. So he's making it relative to you. That's all I can draw out of that. That's our lesson, but let's get a little bit of practice with Jam' Mudhakkar Salim, which we didn't. We just moved right into Al-Asma' Al-Khamsa, which is the harder part. Let me just give you a couple times to practice Jam' Mudhakkar Salim. So I'll give you the mufrad, and then you say Ja'a, a bunch of those things. All right? Al-Muslim. Hanif, make it plural, Jam' Mudhakkar Salim, and put it after Ja'a. Muslimun. Ja'a Muslimun. Okay? Or Ja'a al-Muslimun. Either one. All right. Make i'rab now of Muslimun. A'rib al-Muslimun.
Muslimun, ismu, marfu'u, alamatu raf'ihi, al-waaw.
Al-Waaw, yeah. Very good. Ismun, marfu'un, alamatu raf'ihi, al-Waaw. That's the wow in un. Al-Muslimun. He didn't say Ja'a al-Muslimin. He said Ja'a al-Muslimun. So I'll give you the mufrad, ya Ibrahim. Ya Sadiq, this is for you, sorry. Al-Kafir, mufrad. Make it plural and put it after Ja'a. Al-Kafir, just one. Make it plural. Al-Kafirun. Now put it after the word Ja'a. Ja'a Al-Kafirun. Nice. So the disbelievers have arrived. Ja'a Al-Kafirun. Make i'rab of A'rib Al-Kafirun. What is kafirun? What's the i'rab of it? Is it an ism or a fi'l, first thing? It's an ism. All right. Now, what kind of ism? Is it marfu', mansub, or majroor? Sultan, you got it? Ismun marfu'un. Alamatu raf'ihi. Al-waaw. The wow. Rinse and repeat. اسم مرفوع علامة رفعه الواو. جاء الكافرون. جاء المسلمون. What about جاء الصائمون? أعرب صائمون. اسم مرفوع الواو. نعم. اسم مرفوع علامة رفعه الواو. جاء الكفار. Watch out. Curveball. جاء الكفار. Hanif, you got it? جاء الكفار. Make i'rab of الكفار. أعرب الكفار. اسم مرفوع
علامة رفعه الضمة.
الضمة. نعم. From yesterday, because it's جمع تكسير, not جمع مذكر سالم. So it's from yesterday. From yesterday, جاء الكفار Al-Kufar is ismun marfu'un alamatu raf'ihi ad-damma. Today, جاء الكافرون. And so we say kafirun is ism marfu'un alamatu raf'ihi al-waaw, not a dhamma. Dhamma was yesterday. جاءت المسلمات. Ibrahim, you got it. جاءت المسلمات. المسلمات. Make i'rab of مسلمات. المسلمات اسم مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة, because it's jam' mu'annath salim. That's from yesterday's words that have a dhamma as a sign of being marfu'. Muslimat. Remember yesterday? الضمة تكون علامة للرفع في 4 مواضع. One of them is وجمع المؤنث السالم, and the feminine regular plural muslimat. So today we're talking about the masculine regular plural, kafirun, sa'imun, talibun, and so on. And Allah Ta'ala knows best. That's all we had to cover for today. Easy. And we get into tomorrow something even easier that has only one kind of word where you have to practice. And Allah Ta'ala knows best. Any questions, comments, or concerns before we close? جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.